And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Monday, April 28th. I am Josh Engleman here to break down a two-game slate. We don't have a ton today. We've got Cleveland, 8.5-point favorites in Miami, 210 total. Cleveland wins. They send Miami home. And we have Houston and Golden State, 199 total. Houston, 3.5-point dogs at Golden State. That series currently sits at 2-1 Warriors. Big game there. We've got some injury news to wait on. Darius Garland is questionable for Cleveland. Jimmy Butler is questionable for Golden State. Coming in off of yesterday, kind of a wild DFS Sunday because we had basically all of the actual stars go crazy. Ant had 67. LeBron had 67. Tatum had 67. Cade had 61.5. Brunson had 59. I mean, Giannis had 58.25, but they got destroyed. You know, KPJ becomes exceptional value after Dame, I guess, tears his Achilles. Do we want to have that conversation now? I mean, that's the end of the Bucks. It's all over there. Any ability for Damian Lillard to be a star is over. You know, he's obviously not going to play all of next year. He'll still have one more year left at 60 million. So Milwaukee's dead for next year. Giannis is, who knows? Who knows? Man, I look like Cade dropped that 61.5 in the first game, and it was like, oh man, really wish I didn't fade Cade. And then it turned out it didn't matter at all. Everything else was a problem. Also, shout out to these guys today. Your champions of England won the Premier League yesterday. Pretty good. Good times. Good Sunday. Yeah, well, I don't know what Milwaukee's about to do, but you know, if you ask me if I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is a buck in 18 months, the answer is no. Do I think the Cavs end it today? Yeah, I do. Miami's not very good. It would be in Cleveland's best interest to get him out of there as fast as possible. Where, oh, where is Giannis Antetokounmpo going to end up? Why would you have Dame in your life? Who played Dame? Is Giannis gonna go to Houston? Is Giannis gonna go to Orlando, New Orleans, San Antonio, Brooklyn? Where's he going? Lakers? Well, that one's definitely not happening. So nothing to worry about there. Definitely not the Lakers. Washington? Yeah, definitely not going to be them either. Miami? Definitely not going to be them. We're maybe somebody will get a little bit warmer here. Greg conjected on OKC. Doesn't strike me as the type of move they would make. I mean, like, yeah, obviously do it. But, I mean, we might be looking at OKC as the champs already with a team full of young dudes. Spurs would probably have to give up Castle. Good. That's not an impediment. Portland or Houston? Yeah, he's definitely not going to Portland. He's definitely not going to Indiana. A lot of these are pretty easy. Infinite. It's not even in the realm of possibility for him to go to Los Angeles. Other than, obviously, if someone is willing to take 4 cents on the dollar, like they did for Luka. Steven, if OKC is going to cash in those picks, they're not going to cash it in for a guy over in his 30s. I want him in Washington or Philly. Well, he's not going to Philly. And he's not going to Washington. So, comment God, don't hold your breath. Stephen Bowman says Minnesota. Definitely not going to Minnesota. Greek Freak to Detroit. I mean, he's not going to do that, but like now we're talking. Giannis to Boston. Send it. Like, as preposterous as what I'm about to say is going to sound, like they can do it. It's not zero for Giannis to Boston. It's definitely not Chicago. Knicks or Nets? I could see the Knicks, but I doubt it. I don't see any scenario where he goes to Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's a zero. So the Knicks would be like for what? Cat and Bridges? He's not going to Miami, guys. He's not going to Miami. They don't have enough. Knicks or Warriors? I mean, Golden State can do it, but they who's the matching salary? It's got to be Butler, Draymond, or Steph. Otherwise, you're not doing it. Which, obviously, I know people are going to say Draymond, but, you know, easier said than done. Oh, man. I don't know where he ends up. I mean, if I'm San Antonio, I'm picking up the phone, and I'm giving them everything not nailed down if they want it. I mean, Giannis to Detroit makes a lot more sense in that at least Milwaukee and Detroit are relatively close to each other. I mean, Ivan, there's no scenario where you would rather have Jaylen Brown than Giannis. That's not a thing. If you're not sure who they'd trade, think harder, because they wouldn't trade Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is untradeable for Boston. Jaylen Brown would be the guy. Or Drew Holiday or Kristaps Porzingis. But it would be Jaylen Brown in that scenario. Like, if I'm Boston, I am 100% trying to trade Jaylen Brown to Milwaukee as the basis of a Giannis deal. That's a genius move for Boston. Dangerous Dave. I'm pretty sure he'd enjoy no state income tax and playing alongside Paolo Banchero. Could you imagine if it was Wemby flag Giannis? Holy shit. God, that'd be fun. I don't know where it's going to be, but like, he is not long for Milwaukee because they have no future. They're dead. They're dead. They have no path to a future. The only thing they can do now is take the biggest package they can get for Giannis because they're dead. They don't have any picks. They don't have any future. They're dead on salary for 2 years, and they already don't have good players. Milwaukee's cooked. Milwaukee's cooked. I mean, Houston makes the most sense because they have a billion picks and a billion things, but fit-wise, that starts to get a little weird. Arcathelza, this series is 100% over, brother. Unless we find out later today that Dame didn't actually tear his Achilles, this series is completely over. They have no chance. No chance. Maybe if they still had Chris Middleton, but you're not doing it with Kyle Kuzma, Taurean Prince, and every other jerk-off. It's over, brother. What's the series line? It's got to be comical. They might not even have one up. Yeah, the Pacers are minus 3,500. The Bucks are plus 1,400 on FanDuel. Well, BD, you got to assume that some of those non-shooters are on their way back out in that deal too. All right, let's start talking about this slate. Look, obviously, we're not going to dig into this one ultra aggressively. Darius Garland and Jimmy Butler are both questionable. We're just going to walk through the things that these teams have been doing. This is not a show for takes. Why don't I like them in Atlanta? Because it's Atlanta. If Giannis is going somewhere, he's going somewhere so that he thinks he has the ability to win a title immediately. And that is not Atlanta. The Bucks would not, or Milwaukee would not need to include Amin Thompson in that deal to still win the trade. They have more than enough assets to get Giannis and have a better package than everyone but Oklahoma City. It's going to be fascinating, but he's going to be the next dude to move. He's got to go somewhere because they're dead. They have no mechanism to make their team any better ever. Their first rounder this year goes to Brooklyn. Next year, it's a swap for New Orleans. Next year goes to Brooklyn. 26 is a swap with New Orleans. 27 is a swap. 28 is a swap. 29 is a swap. 30 goes to Portland. They only have their 2031 pick. They need everything. They need 3 picks, 3 swaps, and people. He's not going to Oklahoma City. That is not a Thunder move. Phoenix, if they keep KD. Arcathelza, are you just trying to say incorrect stuff that's impossible? How do you propose they get Giannis to Phoenix without including KD? How are they doing that? Where's Bradley Beal at in this scenario? I got to talk about Cleveland, otherwise you guys are going to drive me nuts. Cleveland Cavaliers, 8.5-point favorites in Miami, 210 total. Garland questionable. And part of me feels like he's not playing. The prop market for like Strus and Hunter and Jerome, they were all a little weird to me. You can see the optimal rates on these guys right now. Mitchell, Strus, Mobley, Allen, all mid-30s. Jerome and Hunter, just shy of 30. And then Garland at 7K. 19% optimal, 20% owned. Didn't get into my lineups. But like, it's hard to say like, well, clearly I like Cleveland because it's a 2-game slate. I can say this. I don't think it's possible to have more balanced ownership, at least as of right now. Here are the aggregate ownership numbers for all 4 teams today. Remember, it's an 800% total on DraftKings. So 200 would be average for each team. Cleveland, 199. Miami, 203. Houston, 197. Golden State, 201. All of these teams are equally owned. Everybody has 200% ownership. There's no leverage to be found as a team anywhere. Steven, no need for the trade machine right now. I think I like Evan Mobley the most of anybody for Cleveland. Power forward, center eligible, 8K, 35% optimal. But 28% owned. I'm a little over the field here on Mobley and Allen out of the gate. They were sort of the bigger stands that I took. You know, clearly I feel great about the minutes for someone like Evan Mobley. He's going to be out there as long as possible. Bounce the cat. I guess that's it for the triple nuke. I don't know what you mean. What's the triple nuke? But yeah, if Garland is in, I think he's my least favorite starter. One, I don't think they need to push him. Two, he just simply grades out the worst, at least based on where the market is right now. You know, they started Sam Merrill in Garland's place for game 3. Merrill got 19 minutes across the first 3 quarters, didn't play at all in the fourth. He'd be fine today. Strus is the guy that I want to have sort of like the biggest conversation about, because he was the guy that I couldn't really figure out what to do with, because his points prop was so high in the market today that like I couldn't get there with any sort of realistic rates for Max Strus. And I'm still over the field on him. 4,400, shooting guard, small forward eligible, but his points prop is oddly high today. And that was implying to me either Garland isn't playing or Strus is just the 5th guy now. But it had me giving minutes to Hunter and Jerome and Strus in a way that I didn't really feel like was the case for a 3-0 series. So I'm going to be paying close attention to Cleveland throughout the day. As you can see, like, I'm light on their backcourt. I'm light on Garland. I'm light on Mitchell. My assumption... Where am I heavier for those kind of guys? Pajemski, Şengün, Van Vliet. Ugh, great. Oh, bounce the cat. Gotcha. It was 4 actually, and it went really well, didn't it? Am I crazy? Am I stupid? Was the 4 nuke in the night not like 2.5 good ones, 1 bad one, and a half incomplete Giannis? Yeah, we talked about all of it. I said out of the 4, you expect 1 to be good, and if we get 2 of them to be good, that's an epic win. 2 of them were good. Giannis was good. They just got the shit kicked out of them. And then Trent was the bust. I think I nailed it. I mean, Giannis was awesome. They lost by 25, and he played 8 minutes less than we expected. He still finished with 28, 15, and 6 in 33 minutes. Wouldn't have taken much for him to be the highest scorer. Arcathelsa, I predicted Lillard's Achilles injury. I mean, how much better can I be at this? Also, yeah, I mean, like, a lot of KPJ happened because of Dame, but I mean, he had a hell of a second quarter one way or the other. What makes me think he was a good play besides the injury? I don't know. He was just like the guy that I was most over the field on. I don't actually pick guys I think are good plays. He was just one of my biggest. I had 4 guys that I was like double the field on. So I gave them all. But that's what math is for. I mean, think about it like this. For Cleveland, the sum of their starters optimal. Let's just say the sum of all their main guys optimal is 207. You're expecting 2 Cleveland guys in the optimal. If it's 1, they failed. If it's 2, it's normal. If it's 3, they were the team. Fact 74 with the super chat. Finished second in the FanDuel pick and roll Saturday night with my Stokastic avatar. Thanks. I wish you would have said it was yesterday. I was on projections yesterday. I would have taken all of your credit. But for real though, awesome, man. That's really fun to see. Bounce the cat, man. You're good. Ultimately, for Cleveland, I think there are 7 playable players. Who the 7th guy is depends on Garland's status. If Garland is in, then it's him. If Garland is out, then it's probably Sam Merrill. Because even with guys out in that last one, like, they still didn't really go to Isaac Okoro. You know, they didn't try to get too weird with it. But, like, when it comes to takes, like, we're not in a take DFS slate anymore. Like, it's a 2-gamer. Everybody's in play. If you are in the rotation, you are rosterable today. There's a reason that all the guys getting projected for 20 minutes for Cleveland are all 20% owned or more. But as I'm carving it out to start the day, I think Mobley is my preferred Cleveland guy. If we look at it on FanDuel, I mean, it's all still pretty similar. It's the same guys. It's minimal ownership to Merrill. It is Donovan Mitchell as your most owned guy on the FanDuel side. Mitchell, 8,700 point guard shooting guard on FanDuel, 8,500 point guard shooting guard on DraftKings. And look, Mitchell looks great, and his props were a little higher, which is another thing kind of making me think that Darius Garland is going to sit. But the weirder part is the line is 8.5 in Vegas, and I have it at 7.5, and that's with Garland in. So that's what's giving me some pause and not really knowing. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. This game is the first game. We're going to know this information one way or the other. What do you guys like for Cleveland today? Where do you guys have your eye? I'm curious what you guys are trying to corner. Because right now, the pay-ups for me, or the stands for me for Cleveland are Mobley, Allen, Hunter, and Strus. And then I'm light on Garland and Mitchell. Jerome, just a guy. And this is what I'm expecting to see, like, a lot of answers. Hunter and Strus, Mobley and Jerome, Mitchell and Jerome. Man, you guys are going to be heartbroken when Ty Jerome turns back into a pumpkin next year. It's going to be awful when Garland sits and we have to play Sam Merrill again. Ken says Strus. I would be surprised if the Magic signed Ty Jerome. Steven, yeah, he is. Gary Bailey says Mitchell and Mobley. Yeah, I mean, that one is obviously the easiest one to want to get to, but then you got to find some value somewhere else. Ty Jerome is not the guy for Orlando. That would be a very, very, very not good acquisition for the Magic. That's not the right thing they need at that position. I assume you guys are all on the same page as me in that Cleveland ends Miami here. Let's see if we have any odds shopper bets for anybody on Cleveland right now. Let's see. Cleveland. Nothing on Odd Shopper right now for Cleveland, but we got a couple Miami options. They need shooting desperately. Desperately. If they're bringing in a guard, they need somebody that can shoot the ball. Because you either need to find somebody that can shoot and play some defense and take KCP out of the starting lineup? Or what exactly? So yeah, to me, it's not Ty Jerome. Unless they're just looking for a third guard, at which point, sure. But Ty Jerome is not a starter for a good team. Let's take a look at Miami. So the Heat have been a disaster in this series. They can't find enough players that don't suck. They've been all over the map. Most ownership right now is coming into Bam and Hero. That makes you feel quite a bit better. And then your next guy up is actually going to be fucking Davion Mitchell, which is insane. Wiggins is getting some love. I don't have it. Ware's minutes basically don't exist, but he's still getting some love. That's what a two-gamer does for you. You know, you look at someone like Haywood Highsmith, who can't do a damn thing of value on the basketball court from a DFS perspective. Ran into quite a bit of foul trouble and lost some minutes last time out. He's getting some love, but I hate Haywood Highsmith. Jovic is the interesting guy. You know, he played 19 minutes last time out. The final 5 were blowout run. He hadn't played in the second half before that, but he played like a pretty sizable set in the first half. Got him in for 20 minutes today. 3,700 power forward center eligible, 20% optimal, 20% owned. I think Jovic is like the value guy you want from Miami, but they could do anything. They can go to Larson or Anderson. They can dust off Jaquez today if they wanted to. I don't trust these dudes. I want to get to Hero. He's the number 1 guy in the boom bust tool. That seems easy enough to me. But if Bam is 2 and 45% owned, I like Evan Mobley on the opposite side compared to Bam, just from an ownership perspective. Jose, I can't talk you off of Mitchell. I have 25%. I mean, Duncan Robinson's minutes have been all over the map. But Bam's going to play close to 40 or more. Hero's going to play 40 or more as long as this one's competitive. But I just find Bam... I find the ownership to Bam to be tricky. Because, like, I like power forward. I mean, you got Jimmy Butler out there, Evan Mobley, Draymond Green. You've got Brooks and Eason. You've got Hunter, Jovic for value. Like, I like power forward today. I don't mind being light on Bam Adebayo in a game that I think the Heat lose. Jovic, to me, solid value. Hero, to me, one of the best plays you can get to at 7,700, just because he's going to soak up 30% usage in 40 minutes. I mean, Davion Mitchell, now that he's starting, he plays a ton. He's shooting more. He's more efficient as well. I don't know how believable any of that is, but he's still fine. Wiggins, just not somebody I want. 6,700, small forward eligible, getting ownership, which is fine. But, I mean, yeah, I couldn't be fading anybody more than Wiggins in this game. The FanDuel side is pretty similar. Bam is the number 2 guy on FanDuel. He's 60% owned. It's another spot where, like, you just start thinking about Evan Mobley. Heroes 40. Mitchell and Wiggins are both 35, and then everybody else is like 10. They don't have it. This is just not that talented of a basketball team. They are miles behind Cleveland here, and this one just ends. And if this is going to end, then yeah, I'm not super excited to have a ton of Miami. This is my least exposed team. I am half the field of the projected ownership on Miami. I'm over the field on all 3 other teams, or at least neutral to it. But this is my biggest fade. I mean, look how light I am on Wiggins and Bam, Ware, no Highsmith, essentially no Duncan Robinson. I don't want the Heat here. Cleveland's good. The series is over. The series is over. To me, the Heat are pretty clearly my least favorite team. What do you guys want to get from Miami, if anything? I assume it's Hero. Where do you guys want to be here for Power 4 or for DraftKings? Gary Bailey says Mitchell. Stephen Leibowitz says Jovic fine for value. Nothing from Miami. Just Davion. Hero Mitchell. Yeah. I don't even find anything that I think is like semi-interesting. Like, they just don't seem to want to give Ware any more minutes. It hasn't been going well. You know, Larson got first half minutes last time out. If you want to try to get different on a guy that has no ownership, that might be the path I want to go to, because technically he was the first guy off the bench. Him and Haywood Highsmith both checked in at the same time. First two guys in last time out. So I could see the path where, you know, it's a 2-game slate and Larson's the guy you use, but it's not like he's any good. A lot of people picking 8.5-point underdogs outright. Hope you guys know how to bet. Put your money where your mouth is. So Miami bets on OddsShopper. Davion Mitchell, under 6.5 assists, 9 OddsShopper rating, 4.4% EV on FanDuel. We have Nikola Jovic, under 13.5 PRA on NoVig. That's 5.5% EV. Hero under 4.5 assists, 3.4% EV on FanDuel. Hero under 24.5 points, 2.3% EV on BetMGM. Lots and lots of Miami bets available for you guys on OddsShopper. Don't forget, if you guys ever want to get OddsShopper and the Portfolio EV tool, link in the description. 7-day free trial always. If you've never checked it out before, it will cost you nothing. Just sign up, click the link, and take a market-based approach to beating the books. We have mass bets, mobile entry, parlay builders, odds boost calculators. Whatever you're looking for on the sports betting or pick'em side, guys, we've got you covered. And the link is in the description of this video. Let's close out with Houston and Golden State. Rockets, 3.5-point dogs, taking on the Warriors. We don't know the status of Butler on the opposite side. Houston's rotation is normal. Your most owned guys are 30% owned Jalen Green and 30% owned Alperen Şengün. Amin Thompson and Fred VanVleet are both close to that. You know, you've got Brooks and Smith and Eason and Adams all around 20. My two big stands are Şengün and VanVleet, and I hate myself. I am close to 2xing VanVleet. I am close to 2xing Alperen Şengün. I just love this as a rebounding matchup for Şengün. The boards are just his. Really increases his floor. I absolutely despise the amount of Fred VanVleet that I have right now for multiple reasons. One, I don't think he's that good anymore. 0.71 fantasy points per minute for Fred VanVleet in this matchup. However, 30% optimal, 28% owned, 6K, projected for 42 minutes. Like, he's just out there all the time. And I'm willing to soak up that playing time if I need to. Because it's not like we have him projected well. It's not like we're projecting him like he's the old Fred VanVleet. 0.71 fantasy points per minute doesn't get much worse. But it fits. Positionally, he works. Because I don't find guard as interesting. There's no value at guard. The only legitimate point guard value you have is like Ty Jerome. So I'm expecting to take the 40 plus minutes at 6K. Now I'm doing the opposite for Amin Thompson at 7,100. He's 27% owned. He's my biggest fade from Houston. But I'm using Steven Adams for value. You know, I'm having no trouble getting Tari Eason over Jabari Smith. Better per minute guy. I feel a little bit better about that. Jalen Green's fine. Dylan Brooks is fine. I actually like Şengün. Now, we don't know what the Golden State Warriors lineup is going to look like. They started Kuminga and Post last time out. That could be Butler and Moody today. We don't know. But I just think this is a really nice matchup for Alperen Şengün. I think the size is massive. I don't know why he's so inefficient offensively, but the rebounds are his. He owns the boards. So I am ranking Houston on DraftKings. Şengün 1, Van Vliet 2, and then we start bunching everybody else together. FanDuel, pretty much the same thing. It's Şengün as my priority here. Tari Eason is probably the second most interesting guy based on value. But you can see the starters. 30, 33, 29, 34. Very flat. They're all ranked 11 to 19. So I don't see much pushing through from Houston other than Şengün as a priority on FanDuel. On DraftKings, unfortunately, Fred VanVleet is on my short list. Look, they need to win, which I think is helpful for Houston. They lost the last game, which I think is helpful for Houston. I tend to want to get to teams like this. They are my second most owned team. I have more of Golden State. Let's see if we have any Houston bets. Nothing. Not a single Houston representative. We don't have anything from Golden State either. It's just a billion Miami bets. Steven Adams keeps playing like 17 minutes a night. If he does that again today, that's a completely reasonable point per dollar option. You know, he's a 0.95 fantasy point per minute guy. Picking between Jabari and Tari Eason just feels scary because they're so similar in position and price and rate, sort of. Overall rate, I guess. But yeah, if I rank Houston for real, Şengün 1, Van Vliet 2, Adams 3, Jalen Green 4. I think if Houston wants to win this series, it comes on the back of Jalen Green. If he can create and make some offense, that's their path. Otherwise, they don't have any offense. They just don't have any offense. Now, Golden State, I'm not going to spend too much time here because whether or not Jimmy Butler plays changes everything. Like right now, Jimmy Butler ranks 4th on DraftKings. He's 37% optimal, 40% owned. I don't know if he's playing. And if he does play, does Kuminga still play? Does Post start? Does Moody start again? I have no idea what Golden State's doing right now, but at the very least, we need to hope we get some news, which we might not get before that first game. But I am over the field on Steph. I am 2xing Brandon Pajemski, who to me is my favorite play of the day, whether Butler plays or not. 5,500 point guard, shooting guard eligible, playing 34 minutes a night. 74% of my lineups. Draymond is a completely reasonable power forward center option. Moody, whether he starts or comes off the bench at 3,800, has great positional flexibility. Gary Payton, great positional flexibility for value. Not a ton of interest in Hield and Looney unless we get Butler out. No interest in Jonathan Kuminga unless we get Butler out. But Pods, Steph, Jimmy Butler, if he plays, I got a lot of these guys. I don't have more than any other team. Right now, Golden State, 243% owned. This is my most exposed team. This is the team I want the most. And I want to have a lot of the second game, especially if we don't have this Butler news. Because on a 2-game slate, it's not going to be hard to late swap. You're going to have a couple pieces of each game, no matter what. So Butler in, Butler out. I don't care. If he's in, I'm playing a lot of them, along with Pods and Curry. If Butler's out, then I'm probably getting more Moses Moody. I'm probably getting more Quentin Post. I'm probably getting more Gary Payton. And it's not changing anything for Steph or Pods. I love Golden State today, even though I think Houston wins this game and goes up 3 or ties this series up at 2-2. Not a single Golden State bet is out there. It's going to be interesting. Personally, I hope he's questionable all day and gets ruled out after a lock. Because on a 2-game slate, you're just kind of hoping to find extra value somewhere. And a late swap at 10 o'clock with no Butler is what I want it to be. Now, these guys are the same on FanDuel. 60% ownership to Jimmy Butler. He's number 1 in the boom bust tool. Steph is 3rd. Draymond's 8. Pods is 9. They're all 40% owned. Golden State's the best team on the slate. I don't even think it's close. Let's see how many Golden State players end up in a DraftKings lineup that we build. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Schedule for the rest of the day. Very simple. You got Laffy coming up next, 11 a.m. MLB strategy. You get Eric and Spags at 5:30 for MLB Live Before Lock. You get myself and Greg at 6:30 for Live Before Lock. And then you get myself and Greg on Playback. Playback.tv/Stokastic. Link in the description. Come watch the games along with us. Listen to Greg and I talk about late swaps, ownership, bets, basketball. Who knows? We got a lot going on today. Here we go. Let's build that lineup. All righty. So we don't have any crazy ownership, so this is going to be tough. Jared Allen in at center. Fred VanVleet in. Pods in. DeAndre Hunter in. Ty Jerome in. Lineup completes with Bam, Draymond, and Hero. Let's see how we did. First draft, 63.4. We're going to get the dub right here. One and done on DraftKings. I could feel it. 29.5. It might be tough to get to 60 right now. All right, so if we pull Draymond, Bam, and Hero. Hero made it, Bam made it, and then it was Draymond down here, 6,500, 25% owned. Instead of that, let's take Max Strus. If I take Strus, that's 4 Cavs I fill with Bam and Butler. Do we do any better? I leave 1,700 on the table. That's probably too much. Yeah, I figured as much. Butler out, Bam out, Strus out. What happens if I get my boy... Oh, I can't go Evan Mobley. I don't want another Cav. No place to put... Steph. No, I need to move Pajemski to shooting guard. Fred VanVleet to guard. Şengün to utility. Completes the final 2 with Strus and Bam. Leaves 900. I still think that's going to be bad. If it's positive, we're moving on. Should have took the first one. Let's see what we do for FanDuel. It's a tough slate. It's hard to build positive ROI lineups right now. All right, Draymond in at power forward. Fred VanVleet in at point guard. Evan Mobley in at, I don't know yet. What happens if I go Steven Adams? Am I giving up too much salary? So Van Vliet, Jalen Green, Draymond Green, Steven Adams, Tari Eason. That's too much Houston. Strus. All right, so I need one more guy here. And I guess that's going to be Mobley. If we complete it, we get Curry, Pods, and Butler. $1,000 left on the table. Can we get to 60 on FanDuel at least? Weird Steven Adams value discount, potentially. Nope, negative 19. This is a tough two-gamer, boys and girls. What's the optimal do? All right, so that's the optimal with $100 left. Let's lose Jimmy Butler. I'm going to take 3 guys out here. We're going to take Butler out, Dylan Brooks out, and Max Strus out. And instead of the guys that we had, so we had Brooks and Strus. I'm going to add Jalen Green and see what completes it. Strus and Eason. 1,200 on the table. This is going to be -2. The Czar is going to leave with double negatives today because that's what this is today. A 2-game slate that's really, really hard, and we need more information. -33. It's not the day for the Czar. It's been a long weekend, man. Too busy celebrating the Liverpool championship. Guys, hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Contenders are posted to my Twitter account. Video about to be recorded. Bunch of shows coming up later on throughout the rest of the day. Laffy coming up in 10 minutes. Live before lock with myself and Greg tonight at 6:30. You don't want to miss it. Hopefully we have some more info. Good luck, everybody. Enjoy your day. Hit the like button on your way out the door. I'll talk to you guys.